Boom. Welcome back to T3. We are in the house at the Thursday night thing. I'm your boy, Mr. U. Herb's in the house. Shane's in the house. Gentlemen, how you guys doing tonight on this glorious evening?
I just wanted everybody to think I froze. I'm good.
it's a beautiful night.
It works every time. You guys good weather-wise? Everything good with everybody?
Yeah. So,
all right. Well, that's
busy work day. That's it. But otherwise, good.
That's good news. All right. Cat pools in the house. It wasn't a summons. There was a request, and you said yes. So thank you. We're going to chat with you in a little bit because you got some keen insights in some areas that we want to talk about. Before we get into that, some quick, exciting news. We started a partnership with the SportCoin Network. Now, SportCoin, in case you're not aware of them, they're a brand new sports network that's dedicated to helping fans like you and I find quality sports content while helping content creators grow their media presence. So if you're tired of hearing the same voices, the same talking heads on the big networks, break away and find some refreshing new sports content like this show and the Herb and Raj podcast, Sports and Money podcast, and many other exciting options. And of course, the SportCoin Network is dedicated to partnering with those kind of content creators to give you a more broad opportunity to find some quality sports content. So shout out to SportCoin Network. We're excited about being partnered with these guys and looking forward to big things. All right, so we got Cat Pools in the house. We're going to talk about you in a little bit, Cat. We need your help there, so hold on for a little bit. All right, so Regina's in the house. In case you guys missed her show with us, she was on about 2 weeks ago. Fantastic insights on college players and injuries and just the whole human biology. So she's a wizard at that, and we're going to have her on to do some more stuff, maybe even next week if all things work out together. Raj, he's one half of the Herb and Raj podcast. You can find them on YouTube and simulcast on social media every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. CST. He's holding down the comment section for us. That's our sniper out there. Take him down, Raj. Protect us now. He got our 6. All right, so we had Kat come on. She's a big New Orleans Saints fan. I'm going to talk about that poll in a second, but not yet. I want to do the second poll first. We had 2 poll questions that got a lot of votes and a lot of interesting answers. The second one was our trade deadline poll. Which team had the best trade deadline move? There was several of those, but I picked 4 out of the ones that we saw. So Darius Smith, who's been well known to be with the Packers for a long time on the D-line, he was a big part of why Aaron Rodgers won games in his last couple of years there. Z Smith was one of the big reasons why he was tremendous on their defense. He went to the Detroit Lions, which is like they needed more help, right? So he went over to Marshawn Lattimore. That's probably the biggest name coming from the Saints. You know, the Saints are already packing it in for the season. There's not a whole lot of they're trimming fat wherever they can now. So he went to the Washington Commanders, which is a very powerful move. Most of the guys at the Commanders are on 1 or 2 year deals. We check their contract length out. So next year it's going to look a lot different, but he'll be there perhaps a little bit longer than that. So he's going to be a part of their growth as a franchise. Mike Williams, who was formerly under Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, they traded him to Pittsburgh, which is probably good for George Pickens. I think the jury's out on how it's going to affect their offense, whether it's going to dramatically improve it or improve by a wee bit. I'm not really sure yet. It's hard to tell. Maybe you guys have insights on that. I don't know. And the last one was Cam Robinson, which I thought was a huge move going to Minnesota. Darren Star went out, and everybody was afraid that Darnold was going to get killed. And they found a guy like Cam Robinson out there waiting. This guy, he's not a bum. He's not a scrub. Man, Cam Robinson can play his position, and to find him out there available, that's some real good fortune for the Minnesota Vikings. So we had the poll that went out, and by a long mile, Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders, 51.5% of the vote, which is not surprising. Darius Smith was behind him at 30.9%, and then Cam Robinson, and then lastly was Mike Williams, all the way, at the back of the line going to Pittsburgh. So any thoughts on that poll? Do you guys agree with those decisions that that Lattimore was the biggest move? If you do, why or why not?
I mean, for me, I agree with Lattimore. That was my pick. I do like exactly what you said about Cam Robinson. I think he's going to be the one that may pay the most dividends for the team. But Washington had to do something. They made a decision. You know, they've got a weak defensive backfield. That's probably the one weakness that showed for them for the last couple of weeks. I think having Lattimore in there definitely helps. I think just the time and the level that he's played at will make them step up a little bit. But I agree with you. I think the Cam Robinson one is the biggest surprise. To be able to find somebody like that, again, the big surprise for me during this trade deadline is nobody had to pay a lot to get some of this talent. You know, in years past, some people have dropped some big deals. Everyone was going for 5th and 6th round picks this year. I mean, of all the years where you thought you'd have some people that had to pay some high prices, you know, I was surprised.
Me too.
It seemed like Lattimore went for like the biggest prize, and then like Jonathan Mingo was second somehow.
I wasn't even mention his name. What kind of deal was that? What kind of move was?
I'll answer your question first, but that one has to get some love in here because that's like one of these. He went for more than like any of the other wide receivers went for. So like that's already crazy, but it has to be thrown out there. So no, I like the Lattimore move. I think it's interesting because this is not a move that they were ever thinking at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden their record is what it is, and now they're like, "Hey guys, we can win." So now they make it. The Zadarius Smith, I love that move because, you know, I am rooting for Detroit a little bit, and they had to replace Hutch. Like, so you know that it was going to happen. So I see why Lattimore was the first one, but the Detroit was going to get an edge rusher somewhere. We just didn't know what name. But somebody, someone was getting fired if they didn't get somebody. So that's how that works. You know, Cam moves with Alabama, so of course I was watching that one. And Pittsburgh was linked to every wide receiver out there. You know, going back to Brandon Ayuk. So them getting Mike Williams, it doesn't get as much love because it feels like they got whoever was left over. But I feel better for Mike Williams because he had to get away from the Jets. You know, once Aaron Rodgers buried him, that was it for him. So it had to happen.
So you guys like the move. Okay. Clearly you like it for Mike Williams. I do too. I think it's better. I think Russell Wilson is going to give him a lot more opportunities. But as far as the whole team for Pittsburgh itself, do you feel like Mike Williams is good for Pittsburgh as a whole?
I do because they needed a number 2. Pickens has really emerged as a number 1, a really good deep threat and a contested ball catcher. They had to have somebody else. The offense has looked better since Russell Wilson has get in there. So, you know, am I a little surprised at that? Does it look bad for Justin Fields? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack as far as that goes. But the offense has looked better. They needed another weapon. So if Mike Williams was available and he's only coming in to be – like if they were saying, hey, Mike Williams is coming to be our number 1, I'm like, I don't know about that. But coming in to be the number 2, fine with that. So I'm okay.
He's better than Van Jefferson. I think everybody can agree with that. All right, go ahead, Shane. Anything else on that?
No, I think exactly like Herb said. The other thing to think about with Mike Williams is, I mean, when Pittsburgh was – I mean, you can't even say when they were more competitive because they like with Mike Tomlin, they've been competitive the whole time. But this is what they do. They normally have that one big wide receiver. They're not normally great speed guy. They'll have one speed guy, and then they'll have one. Then they normally load up on height on wide receiver. Mike Williams fits that need. You know, he's going to fill those roles. They have a good tight end. They have a decent offensive line. Frazier for them out of West Virginia has been a great draft pick. So I think they're happy in that way. I was surprised that, like you said, though, for them to have been involved with every wide receiver that's been out there, if Mike Williams is what I get out of the deal, I'm not necessarily happy if I'm Pittsburgh. But I think he will be a good fit for Williams. Anything that gets me out of the Jets would have been a plus. And like Herb said, basically as soon as Aaron Rodgers mentions you, that means the bus is coming to run you over. So you might as well get out while you can. He's not going to get the ball to you again, and he's definitely not going to take any chances a year away.
Yeah. You feel like Pittsburgh knew that Williams was always going to be available, so they kicked the tires on everyone else available and then just said, all right, this is, you know, because everyone has known Williams was out, you know, for weeks now.
Okay.
It just feels like they're like, okay, Here's what's left. Let's go get them. And Pittsburgh has a habit of making their number 2 wide receivers a lot of money. Not with him, elsewhere. But everybody who's a number 2 seems to sign somewhere else and then severely disappoint. So I think he'll be fine there.
Well, culture-wise, I think it'd be good for Williams.
Yep.
As far as downfield blocking issue that they already had with Pickens, I don't know if Williams will solve that. He did some of that in Los Angeles, San Diego. I forgot which one he was in, but I'll just say Los Angeles for lack of a better word. But Los Angeles, he did some of that there, but more than Pickens did. But I don't know if he's going to do that so much in Pittsburgh. I hope he does because they really need it because Pickens wasn't doing it. West Coast Win is in the house. Good evening.
What's up, Wayne?
Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate you. The Running Wrestling Pod, our boy Big Mike's in the house. What's up, fella? Lady Alpha in the house. What's up, lady? All right, Cat, we coming to you right now. I don't know what the sad face is for. We're coming to you now. All right. So our first poll question was the one that I'm like, huh? Okay. The question was about Michael Thomas's comments about Derek Carr and Chris Olave. I didn't bring any quotes. If you guys have them, feel free to share them. I don't have any. But the gist of it is that Michael Thomas was no longer on the team now. He was talking about how Derek Carr's play was always an issue. His decision making was getting people in trouble, specifically wide receivers getting hurt. And he said that Olave got hurt because of those said decisions. And he went into more detail. He used some language that we ain't going to use on this show. We just don't do that. But he kind of went into a lot more detail. But I asked the question on our Twitter poll, was Thomas 100% correct in his assessments about Chris Olave and Derek Carr? Was he mostly correct or totally incorrect? Now, if you watch any Saints games, I feel like you should be able to say, you know what, I vote he's 100% correct. I asked this beautiful young lady, Kat Poole, one of our fans and friends of the show. She's a big Saints fan, die hard to her heart, and I asked her the same question, and she was in total agreement. Unless I missed something, I misunderstood that. She was in total agreement that Mike Thomas was right about everything that he said. I thought it was going to be a landslide. When I hit send, I said, you know what? Nobody's going to vote for any of this other stuff. It's going to be 100% because they saw the game. They saw Derek Carr and what he was doing and not doing. They saw it. Here's the results of the poll. 41.5% said 100% Mike Thomas is right. That's not the winning vote. 43.4% said Mike Thomas is kind of correct about most stuff. And 15.1, I don't know who you are, where you came from. If you're out there, please speak up. Tell me why you said Mike Thomas was totally wrong, because I don't understand how. Totally wrong? Like, nothing he said was right. So let you guys chime in, and then I want to hear from Kat. Go ahead.
So I've never watched Carr enough to like really, really look into this. But it's interesting because you mentioned about quotes. So one of the first things you look up with, is Keyshawn Johnson speaking for Michael Thomas. And he's basically said Michael Thomas is bringing this up because Carr got Thomas hurt as well. So it's like, I don't know, it's a big number if you're a wide receiver. Yeah. But that's why they're saying that. And then, the ball that got Olave hurt was a terrible ball. So that's kind of feels like where it comes from. But it definitely seemed personal. So it makes sense if Thomas is actually blaming Carr for something. I just disagree with the handling it. Like if you hurt me with the ball, like I'm gonna go tell you. But I'm not gonna take to Twitter forever. But that's a whole another subject. So.
And where's is he in? Is he on the team right now?
I think he's in witness protection. I haven't heard from him.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if he's speaking like that and he's on the team. I'm like, this is not a good
I didn't think he was.
Okay. That makes more sense. Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with Herb that I don't know if that's the way that I would have attacked it, but Michael Thomas didn't back down. And then he not only did he talk about that he's not the only one that got hurt, he also mentioned other people he got hurt. Michael Thomas said, you got your boy leading the league in receiving. You had to throw the ball to him 180 times for him to get 100 catches. That's telling you how bad of a quarterback you are. I think if you ask Dennis Allen, Derek Carr is the only quarterback that's gotten Dennis Allen fired. So it doesn't matter what team Dennis Allen's on. You let Derek Carr be your quarterback, he's going to get you fired. He's proven that. 2 teams, 2 for 2 on that. like Herb said, I don't know if this is the way that I attack it. There's definitely direct things that Michael Thomas has. There's probably more that he's not even mentioning. I don't think that Derek Carr was ever the real choice in New Orleans, and I don't think he's played that well. And I think even at his best in the Raiders, I think wide receivers would still tell you that he doesn't throw a great ball and he didn't put us in great position.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of it's wrong. I don't think any of it's wrong.
Yeah.
Tell me the truth now.
Yeah.
Be as honest as you possibly can. When that season started, and they had those 2 games, was it 2 or 3 games, where Carr was lighting it up. Tell me how you guys felt.
Run game was lighting it up.
He was
game
throwing
and offensive line.
He was throwing too, brother. Watch them games. He was
I watched those games. I'm telling you, he lost a center, 2 guards, and a tackle, and he started throwing the ball all over the place.
He was accurate though, and that's something that we haven't been seeing. How did you guys feel about that when you saw it? Do you feel like, this is just fool's gold, or do you think something was cooking out here? Or your honest thoughts?
Definitely more fool's gold. You just don't ever see like Carr as your long-term guy, you know? And to that point also, it's kind of like goes back to originally what I said. How many times do you heard about it? You know, like if you go 5 games in a row throwing great balls, right? And then one game you get a wide receiver knocked out, we're probably going to remember that one. You know what I mean? It just, that number just seems more significant there. So it's not like, you know, but you just don't, I guess you just don't see it from a lot of your best quarterbacks either. You know what I mean? So that's going to be another knock on him.
I think I understand what you're saying. Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, I mean, Carr's never been a favorite of mine. Hasn't really depended on what team he's played on. I think he has talent. You can get him to throw the short passing game, and that's okay. But he's proven when it comes down to him, he's going to lose games for you. You know, whether it's with New Orleans, where it's a lot of smoke and magic, and you have a great run game that starts off for you, and you let him throw a lot of short passes and try to get people around, that's fine. You know, that's your job as a quarterback, is to win the game. They don't care, you know, how you do it all the time. But, you know, there's not a lot of people that are backing Carr up.
Right.
That's another great indicator in my mind. You know,
that's a good point.
And Devontae Adams, you know, played with him at Fresno State, and he definitely said, "Hey, let's go play with Rodgers over go play with Carr." You know, he made that move in Vegas, and Carr was already out. Like, I don't think Carr's ever been the one, and I also don't know many Saints fans that ever thought that he was. I think Herb makes a great point. I mean, I think Derek Carr, after his first couple of years, became one of those guys where you're like, hey, that'd be a great guy to have as my number 2. Like, have him come in. He's going to know the offense. He's going to keep himself out of trouble. We're going to be okay. But I think the teams that he's been on, they've constantly been looking for the next quarterback.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes to your other question you're going to ask, Mr. You just don't have a whole lot of like true, hey, this is my number 1 quarterback guy. You have a lot of quarterbacks in the league right now that you're like, I mean, if everything else goes right, this guy can win. But if one of those other things is failing, they're not the guy to prop you up, you know? And like Carr, if he has a great running game and a great defense, like, you know, into the quarterback, like, can he go out and give you some wins? Sure. But is he the guy that I'm like, is going to be my, you know, superstar, carry a terrible team? Like, no, I don't think that. And I don't think many people do.
Yeah. Let's play a little fun game.
Uh-oh.
Kat, I want to hear from you, Kat, on what you think the Saints should be doing from here. I think Herb and Shane are hitting it. Nobody ever thought that Carr was going to be a long-term solution. By long-term, if they thought 4 years, I'd be surprised. I was thinking more like a couple while they figure some stuff out. But I want to play a little game here while Kat is thinking about that answer. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quarterback and then Carr. You tell me which one you'd rather have, right? We've done it before. It's always fun. All right. Malik Willis, Derek Carr.
Wow.
Malik Willis.
Herb?
Yeah, because he's younger. I mean, I can at least maybe develop him. I feel like Carr is who he is.
Yeah, that, and he came in and exactly like we said, he's a number 2, and he filled in Green Bay and kept that team alive.
Yeah. Thank you for the vote of confidence, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't think Willis is a number 1, but I would definitely keep him around. And if I was going to keep one of those two, I'm keeping Willis around. And
But it feels
hope
like
he
you
just
don't think
prospers.
Carr's the number one either.
No,
It
but
feels like
Willis is probably not going to get anybody killed because he doesn't throw well enough. So we're not going to have to worry about that.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Jacoby Brissett, Derek Carr.
Eesh, neither.
Extra
I'll take
running back.
I'll take one of you two. We'll run the Wildcat.
Yeah, exactly. Extra running back.
So Shane, you picking nobody too?
I'm definitely not taking Jacoby Brissett. I've proven that time and time
What does that
again.
mean? Oh, man.
Okay, if I had one game and I needed to win the game, right, I
That's
would take
yeah.
Carr over Brissett because I feel like there's at least more upside with him than Brissett. I think Brissett would play to not lose you the game, but Carr might actually try to go out and win it. You know,
Fair. I like this. Yeah, see, now we thinking, baby. I like this. Okay.
yeah. I thought
Marcus
that's
Mariota.
where we were going because they should definitely be starting over. But that's a whole other.
Yeah, I think they're getting close to it when Lattimore left.
Yeah. But then they just gave AK a big extension, so that was kind of weird. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And don't forget, it was not more than a matter of months ago that the Saints had an elite defense, and now they're giving people away.
Yeah.
That's kind of telling.
Yeah.
Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota.
Derek Carr, but
Ooh,
I mean,
whatever.
So let's say this: if you were saying like I could get them both cheap, then I'll take Derek Carr. But if you're like you got to pay Derek Carr $20 million or Marcus Mariota $5 million, I'm taking Marcus Mariota for a year. I'll just figure it out.
Yeah. Shane, you got one?
I go with Marcus.
Yeah.
I feel like if my team's decision was coming down to that, we weren't winning the Super Bowl anyway.
Yeah.
Like if the exec comes in and says, "Hey, we're gonna get Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota," I was like, "So we're in the middle of a rebuild? Like, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going. Mac Jones, Derek Carr.
Mac Jones all day.
It's Bama talking. That's all
That
that
is
is.
Bama talking, baby.
Shane.
I agree. I mean, I think Mac Jones got the short end of a stick of a terrible offensive unit in New England. I'm not saying he's a savior or anything,
Right.
but when he had at least some offensive weapons, he looked okay. And then you get rid of everybody and you don't have an offensive coordinator for 2 years. That makes it tough.
Yeah.
That's
You
fair.
know what my thoughts about Mac Jones. We saw this at Alabama. Yeah. He is great if you've got a great structure around him. Like if you draw up a play and you've got good playmakers, he knows where the ball's supposed to go. So he won't thrive in every environment. But yeah, New England had just basically like Bill Belichick was just trying to prove something to people. Like who hires 2 defensive coordinators as an offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
And with a rookie court, it's just none of that made sense. So
I don't know myself. Just a handful more. Gardner Minshew, Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. I've seen too much of Minshew.
Oh man! This next one I got in front of me, they created so many questions for me. I'm like, why don't you say just? I can't understand some of their movements.
I want to explain what I said last week about Minshew. Right. Like I always knew he was bad, right? And I said that at the beginning. I said he's that guy who will go out, win you a game or two early in the season, and then just be bad the rest of the year. Like that's Minshew. But I watched the game, and this guy is like turning the ball over like he's being paid to do it. It's like, hey, do we want an interception or a fumble here? Maybe both. Maybe I'll drop it, pick it up, and throw it. Like he just doesn't care. He spends more time on his mustache than he does on the game. That's what I feel.
Fair. Shane, you got a point on that one? We're going to move on.
No, I agree with Herb on this. I mean, I think Las Vegas has tried this out, and I think your record with Derek Carr was better than your record with Gardner Minshew. So I think we have some actual evidence on this one. The other thing is, like, Herb mentioned it before. I think Derek Carr can still win you a game. That, like, I'm not saying that he's not an NFL quarterback, but he's not the quarterback I build around. So like if you have to pick him, do I think that yes, you'd be in a better spot than Gardner Minshew? Yeah, there's no chance. Like he is a better selection in this.
All right, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
That's a tough one.
You guys think that Kenny Pickett is done? He has no redeemable value. That's what you're saying?
I forgot where he went. Did he go to Philadelphia? I forgot.
Yeah, he's
where
a
he ended
backup
up.
in Philly.
Yeah, he's back in Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know when he's going to ever play, but he's
Yeah.
a backup.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a perfect, like, if Derek Carr was at Pittsburgh, he could probably make that work. Good defense, decent running backs. We're not going to ask you to do anything spectacular. We're okay punting the ball.
Yeah.
That's a Derek Carr team.
Yeah, he's I mean, like, the way I like to think of it is he's a thermometer quarterback. Like, if your team's hot, he's going to keep that temperature the same thing. He's not a thermostat. He's not like any of these quarterbacks that's going to drive your talent. Derek Carr can play well in a system that's built around him with a lot of talent around. Once that talent starts to drop, he's not going to be able to do anything plus for you. He doesn't have, like Lamar Jackson, all these years in Baltimore, no weapons around him, still wins games. Brock Purdy, every wide receiver that's been out, no running game, still looks okay in San Francisco. You know, Cat Pool right there. Taysom Hill is been the better quarterback in New Orleans for the last 3 years.
I don't like him consistently playing at that position. That's the thing. When he does that, we see a lot of stuff get exposed. I don't know what that's about. Maybe because he played different positions. When he plays quarterback consistent, like you're the guy at quarterback all the time, it doesn't look pretty.
No,
it looks
I think he's more of a gimmick quarterback for sure.
Yeah,
I agree too, but they're out of gimmicks. Like, if you pay Spencer Riddler, you have him, you have
Desmond Spencer Rattler.
Well, I'm combining two quarterbacks that are both
combining
terrible.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about like the cousin of the Joker or something. The
Exactly.
What kind of hybrid is this? But yeah,
the worst possible kind.
Yeah, exactly. Deion Riddler and Spencer Rattler, both quarterback. Like, the thing is, you're gonna have a ton right now. Derek Carr turns the ball over. So what's your biggest complaint about Taysom Hill? That he's gonna turn the ball over. So if we're paying a real quarterback value for Derek Carr and he's going to give you 30 turnovers, and Taysom Hill you pay at like a tight end value and he gets you 25 turnovers, what have we lost by playing him? You know, that's where Derek Carr runs into the problem. You're paying, just like Herb said in the very beginning, if I'm not paying Derek Carr the money that I have to pay him, then yeah, $5 million, yeah, okay, we can play some ball with him, but you're paying him as the number one quarterback, and he hasn't been a number one quarterback in a long time.
Fair. Let's jump into this quick conversation. And I mean, quick, maybe 10 at the very worst. The comments that Brady made, Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, who's now an announcer now, doing a fairly decent job at it, by the way. He made a comment about rookie quarterbacks and how the game seems to be dumbed down for them, and it's kind of hurting the game and hurting their development as quarterbacks. Now, it's going to be hard to dispute much of what he said just because of his pedigree and what he's done at the position. All that he's seen, the numbers and the records that he has are still unbroken. So we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt with a lot of that stuff, but he's saying that the game's been dumbed down. Coaches in the NFL are not challenging the young quarterbacks. They're kind of taking them from where they are and kind of just working with what they got rather than coaching them and developing them and training them. What are your thoughts on that? Because we talked about it before about a rookie quarterback coming out of college and whether they should sit under a veteran quarterback for a while, however long that is, or thrust them right into the action and they learn better that way. You got coaches like the Titans' Brian Callahan, who's an ardent believer that they should come out of college and get thrown right into the fire. He thinks it's better for them, their learning development that way. And you got other coaches who make like a Matt LaFleur or a Harbaugh that kind of feel a little different about that. They want them to kind of have that grooming and let them see all they need to see in that time. And Tom Brady credits that for a big part of his development. What do you guys feel about that, just generally speaking, as well as Brady's comments?
When Brady came out, he didn't start right away either, though, right? I mean, he was stuck behind. So it's an interesting thing. I think there's like a lot of elements at play. So when you talk about the coaches developing the quarterbacks, the lifespan of a coach now is getting shorter and shorter. So when they get the guy, they've got two choices. All right, I could try and train you all this. We'll probably lose a lot of games, but maybe you'll get valuable experience. Or I could dumb this down. Maybe we'll all look good, and maybe I'll get to stick around a couple more years. And I think that kind of goes into it. Plus, I don't think college is helping. I think college coaches are kind of getting the same way. We just need to win now. So whatever I have to do to utilize your skill set right now is fine. And then the pro game is way different, and a lot of them aren't keeping up. So I think it's like a collective effort where everybody is like, let me look out for myself right now versus let me actually train this guy along. But I just don't think there's a lot of training going on in the NFL at all.
And Kat said that before you get your comment in, Shane. Kat said, when you're paying that much for a rookie, do you want to see your money sitting on the bench? It's their fault the price is going up so much. I get that. There's pressure, especially with teams that feel as though they have to get something done in a timely manner, but you just never know how it's going to turn out. The Jaden Daniels situation is kind of an anomaly. I mean, he came in, he had somebody in the room, which I guess in this case was Mariota, who was considered a veteran, that kind of helped create an environment for him to kind of grow at the position, but he's still starting though. So and he's thriving at the position. You got people who like EJ Manuel, who didn't have the opportunity to do it with Buffalo. He had Kevin Kolb and them guys. That wasn't really giving him the kind of leadership that he needed. And he came out there, hurt his leg, and they tried to give him a break and sit him down, and they didn't have nobody else that could play at his level. So they put him back in. He hurt his other leg. So he was already screwed from the rip. So it's like there's so many different examples of this. It's like, what do you do with that? So Shane, go ahead and drop your comments in there, brother, and we'll keep on moving, man. What do you think?
Well, I think Herb mentioned it. I mean,
you agree with Herb?
The coaching cycle is such a quick turnaround that, you know, how can you wait? The other problem is, and I think people talk about this way too much, is the NFL has always been terrible at developing quarterbacks. Like that, it's a proven fact. Like if they were better, then these first round draft picks would show up better than they do, and they don't. But the problem is that we're not developing quarterbacks at all sorts of levels. Like Herb mentioned, you watch college football these days, and there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't have to make the decisions for themselves. They don't have to do anything. And then they get to the NFL, and they showed great athletic talent and maybe some decent numbers, but they can't explain everything. They can't go through the checks. They can't go through what they need to. And then you give a team to them and expect them to be the ones that are going to lead it, and they don't even know what's going on. And they don't develop quarterbacks in the NFL. Like that's... We mentioned, you know, Tom Brady. The thing is, Drew Bledsoe had that team winning games. If Mo Lewis doesn't absolutely destroy him to where he almost ends up dead, Brady doesn't get to play. And Brady didn't blow the doors off when he started. And this is from a Patriots fan. And my fandom started with Drew Bledsoe. So like that's a quarterback that was developed. You know, he had to be ready, and Brady wasn't ready in the very beginning, and he wisely says, you know, I'm not ready. But you talk to even the coaches that get a lot of credit for developing quarterbacks, like somebody like Bruce Arians, and he even says the same thing, like, you have to be talented. I can't, no matter how much better I can make you, you're still not going to be great. You know, he talks about Jameson Winston when he had 30 interceptions, but threw for 5,000 yards that one year. He's like, yeah, and then we finally got him LASIK surgery. Like, who knew he couldn't see the entire time? I mean, how much developing are you doing if you don't know that your quarterback can barely see? Yeah. You know, the other thing is, you just see it in games. There's less and less football knowledge, I think, going around a lot. You know, you don't see some of these plays all the time. Now, part of that is because guys are playing young, but the other thing is, you're putting an awful lot of time in the NFL. Like, they're not taking the time to try to build you completely up as a quarterback. And I think we've gone to more and more athletic quarterbacks where we think, like, your feet are going to be the answer. But that doesn't always mean that you have all the other skills that are behind it.
Right. And that's the problem, man. When you're in high school and you're an athletic quarterback, you can outrun everybody. And then when you're in college, you can outrun, you know, most of the people, half the people. And all of a sudden you get to the NFL, and the third string linebacker is like chasing you down, and they're like, all right, what do we have to fall back on? And I think the other thing is you get these guys who, you know, are in college who are playing with superior talent. They look really good. They get drafted on the worst team who has nothing. And then you see a lot of these situations fail. And then again, it's a coach who knows this team has nothing, and they're thinking, man, I only have like 2 to 3 years before I get fired. Let me just throw my guy out there and hope for the best. And then if your team is like, if there's a disconnect between your coach and your GM's over there building up the defense to make a run. Meanwhile, they've handed you a rookie quarterback and they've told you to go ahead and play him the first year. It just seems like there's very few like CJ Stroud-like situations, you know what I mean, where they decided to try and build up both sides and get going. And there's way more of the other kind of situations. So
it's really concerning about guys like Shedeur Sanders and Cam Woods that get ready to come out that are all mobile, make plays with their feet. Like, if they don't get developed, I'm just wondering, because everybody can't be a Jaden Daniels. Those things are really anomaly.
Right.
I mean, Drake May was like really high in the draft. People thought he was going to be going in the top 3 in the draft anyways, and he had to sit behind somebody, and it's done him relatively good, I think. If he came in and didn't sit behind Brissett for a little bit, I think it'd have been a disaster. And we talk about him in the same light that we were Mac Jones. So I'm like, I don't know what the future for Sanders and Ward and guys like that are going to look like without having some kind of grooming. But it's an ongoing conversation. I don't know how much time we have to keep on staying into it. But go ahead real quick with the comment. Then we get into a quick
well, I
highlight
think
from last week.
a couple of key things you hit on there, Yusuf. Like you
Go
talk
ahead,
about Ward. His high school ran a wing T. He had never really thrown the ball until he got to college, went to an FCS school, threw the ball all over the yard, and then has gone pass happy since then. So it's a guy that had to develop those skills. The other thing is, you and Herbert both mentioned, we've talked about Mac Jones before. You know, Mac Jones was throwing to 4 top 10 wide receivers at Alabama. He got to the Patriots, and he didn't have anyone that would have started at Alabama. You know, you can't discount the lack of talent when you go up. The other thing that I wanted to hit on quickly before we wrap it up is I don't think people give Jaden Daniels the amount of credit for the extra work that he's put in by himself. I mean,
He was in college for 5 years. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but he's done a lot of, like, he's one of the quarterbacks that jumped on the VR. He spends a ton of time doing that. So he's getting reps, even not physically, but he's got a chance to see an awful lot of different defenses that even he wasn't seeing when he was at LSU. I think a lot of credit goes for he needs to get more credit for what he does with his brain than what he's doing just with his talents. And I don't think a lot of people have given him credit for that.
They should. He's a smart guy. Yeah. Rod said Shedeur and Cam are actually decent pocket passers. Miro will need some grooming. What Roger's telling me is that the Giants shouldn't be drafting. That's what he's telling me. And I heard you, Roger.
Well, right. So to that point, real quick, if I'm the Giants and you end up like 4 to 5, somewhere in there, I don't trade up for a passer. And I don't draft. Like, if it's not Shedeur or Cam, then I just don't get one in the first round, like, at all, I think.
Correct.
That's how little faith I have in, like, everyone else.
And,
you know, Shedeur and Cam both come with their own, you know, question marks as well. So I just think this is probably one of your weaker quarterback drafts.
I don't know whether this is the answer or not. And I mean, look at somebody who I just mentioned, Hall of Famer. He was 7th. He went in the 7th round. So it's like, I don't know who's going to be the one. None of us know. We just predicting. So a lot of Giants fans, especially on my Twitter, are talking about Ward and Sanders, but you don't see me typing that. You know why? Because I don't know that.
Right.
I just know that we need a quarterback. I don't know who it's going to be. I know free agency is probably dead to us, but I don't know that those 2 guys are going to be it. They want them because they think it's going to be a sure thing, but I don't know.
Yeah. I just don't think there is. Yeah.
That can be coached, that can have a high football IQ. Very important in my book. A high football IQ. That's what we need. So let's keep it moving. So as far as last week, real rapid fire, give me one highlight from last week that kind of stuck out, blew your mind, shocked you, etc. One highlight with some quick commentary on it. Then we go into our predictions, and then we'll hit our 5-pack poll for the night. So just one thing that you guys saw that was mind-blowing to you. Look at that.
I mean, highlight-wise, I think there's only one highlight, and that's Saquon Barkley. And, I mean, when you watch the NFL week in and week out, and you see something you've never seen before, that's when you know there's some people that are just built for this.
Beautiful. I wasn't going to go here, but since you brought him up, Let me ask you a question. Honestly, do you feel like this is the same guy that was playing for the Giants, or is this something that where he's doing something almost?
I don't even know why you're following that like that. Why can't you just appreciate that play? That was just an amazing play.
I do.
No, you don't. You don't at all. You just stomped all over his thing and went into some hate about the thing.
I'm talking about the whole
You absolutely did. You absolutely did.
No, man, I'm not going to. I didn't do that. What I'm asking just because his whole picture, everything I'm hearing now is that this guy is just world beater, and he was on our team, but he didn't do a good bit of that stuff. We had a lot of problems with him, as a matter of fact. But now he's not only healthy, but he's doing things that are like amazing. My question is that is he doing this to prove a point, or is this who the guy was the whole time? Because we never even seen some of this stuff. We've seen some things, but never anything on this level. I'm trying to find out talk to me from you guys, football knowledge. What's different beside the team and one being bad and the other one being he's coming out of a Super Bowl? What's different that you see? This is amazing to me.
I think there's definitely a level of spite. I think Saquon Barkley wants to put it to the Giants. There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
But I also think he's playing against a light years better offensive line. I think better play calling. I think
the O-line like
hey, I mean, there's no doubt that he has a better offensive line in front of him. It lets him be able to do what he needs to do. I think they get him the ball in different ways in which the Giants didn't always do that. But I think he's a guy that likes having a chip on his shoulder. And I think the Giants not thinking that he was up to his worth and you getting to stay in your conference and punish them on the opportunities you get, I think he feeds off that.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Ben, jumping in.
I also don't think the Giants should have kept him, though. Like, I don't think he fits.
It's too much money, man.
Yeah, paying for running back at this point. It's funny to me that, like, there's so much surrounding Saquon Barkley leaving the Giants and nothing around Derrick Henry leaving the Titans. But, like, both teams made the right decision. Both guys needed to go somewhere else, and they couldn't afford to pay for a running back given the state of the teams. I thought it was good for both.
I didn't hear a thing about the Titans. Did you?
Yeah. But I think they're the exact same situation. Both guys are tearing it up on their new teams, rightfully so. Both of their new teams are better built to maximize their skills. And I don't see like that the teams that they left made bad decisions. So
and they didn't. I mean, and they may have their quarterback in the future. We definitely don't. So we had to do something. So I don't fault the Giants. I don't fault the Giants at all for letting them go. Like, it sucks to go to a division rival. I get that.
Yes.
But they couldn't outbid anybody for them. That wouldn't make sense on this team.
No. I agree with you, though. I would have tried to get rid of him before. I would have traded him when it was in our power.
Yeah. And I said that about Derrick Henry, and I love Derrick Henry, but they should have got something for him.
It seemed like they couldn't get anything that they wanted for him. I don't know what they thought, but I don't know what happened. That was a long one. All right. Like you guys froze. I don't know if I missed something there. Some screen just froze there for a second. But Ben saying totally agree. I'm not trading up for anybody but Shedeur or Cam right now either. If you're saying trade up for Shedeur or Cam, I don't feel good about that. I'm sorry.
That's my point. I wouldn't trade up for either one of those two either. Especially if I'm sitting at like 5 or 6 and they want a haul. No, I'm not
lovely right now. I'm not trying to do that. Then and I know you're happy about that. The news of the week: Buckley's reverse hurdle was insane. That man was drug tested right after that happened, which is funny. How do you do that? They drug tested. I'm sure you passed. Regina said mental health brings a great player out. I totally agree with that too. This may be the weakest QB class in a while. Yeah.
It is.
I'm hoping that there's somebody back there, maybe somebody that you guys are not talking about every week, that's out there for us, because we got to do something. We can't do Drew Lock for another couple of years. We don't. It's not. We can't wait for Peyton's little brother to come out. We don't have the time to do that. We have to do something ASAP. So I don't know what the answer is,
but you might have to wait for that. You can't reach for a quarterback in this next draft.
I don't know. I'm not suggesting reach, but is there anybody else that is possible?
Ewers and Quinn Ewers, if you believe in him with his injury history, or Carson Beck before he decided to throw 2 interceptions a game. It's like Those are your next two.
That's it.
I mean,
I'd
Rod
wait.
mentioned, but neither one of us would like Milrose like a third or fourth rounder at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I would wait and take somebody like Rourke at Indiana. I think people don't respect how good of a thrower he has been. Both he and his brother at Ohio tore it up. His brother tears it up in the CFL and has gotten some shots on some teams during the preseason in the NFL. But Rourke at Indiana would be the quarterback. I'd pick him in the fourth round and give him some run. I think he's a quarterback that's going to get the ball out. He plays an interesting style offense, so he plays with some pro style. But yeah, I'm not reaching for anybody in a quarterback class this year.
what Shane is saying is if the Giants want to compete in the CFL, they should draft Rourke. Otherwise,
He's saying something like that. I'm like, what do we? Wait a minute. You talking about give him some run? What do you mean give him some run? You talking about him starting
Over Drew Lock? Daniel
Or Tommy
Jones?
DeVito,
Your
whoever's left
quarterbacks
on
are
the team?
terrible. Do you have an NFL quarterback on the Giants right now?
Drew Lock is an NFL quarterback. I just don't like him.
Yeah.
He's
I
NFL.
honestly saw a universe where they start Drew Lock for a year. Hopefully he's bad and you pass off for one more year to get to high draft pick. I could see that happening, unfortunately. Dable gets fired at the end of this year. You get off of DJ and you just let Locke carry the team for a year. Hopefully he's just bad. And the year after you draft a quarterback.
These fans will burn this city.
I'm not saying, look, if I was a Giants fan, I would absolutely hate it. But from the outside view, I could see this happening for sure.
People are, it's been 6 years. No, sir. It's been like 11 years. It's been 11 years. I'm counting. I know 2022 is an anomaly. This has been going on for 11 years. This can't go on another year. I don't think we can survive it.
I get it.
John Mara had to add extra security to his team. There's no way in the world. But any other highlights from last week that just jumped out? I want to give a quick shout out to the Chargers, man. Herbert, nobody talks about him. He's on a hot streak. The man is on fire. He lit the Browns up. Now, the Browns defense, as bad as they've been playing in other areas, their defense has still been relatively good. Herbert lit them boys up. They pressured him, I think, 52% of the time, and he lit them up for 106 in the score. When there was no pressure, he was 11 of 16, 176 yards in the score. He was just going off on them. And then Dobbins had 2 touchdowns that he ran, and they lit him up. So watch out for the Chargers. Them boys might be coming. But Shane, anything that you saw was a highlight beside what we talked about already? If not, we'll move on to our predictions for this week.
No, I think the two you mentioned are pretty forward in my mind.
Yeah. Can I give a shout out to the Bills Dolphins game then? Because that was a fun one. It was a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a really good one.
Yeah. Ben Parker said it's a great year to draft a quarterback outside the first round, even though I like Shador and Cam. No, we couldn't tell.
Yeah.
They don't look as impressive as the top quarterbacks from the past couple of years.
They don't.
Oh,
Yeah. Shador comes with the Sanders baggage, and Cam Ward, like, once a game throws the most inexplicable interception, going out of bounds on the right, throwing back into the middle of the field, and then he's got several other highlights. But I agree with him. I would do my homework on other guys, just like what Shane mentioned.
yeah.
And, find yourself a gym. And
Perhaps
keep Drew Lock and say, you're in a perfect position. All right, Drew Lock's going to start, and we're going to get you up to speed. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know that much. I don't know.
I mean, it's either that or you call Atlanta and go, "Hey, has our year's plan changed now that you're doing okay? Do you try for Michael Penix now? Do you make a move for Bryce Young? Do you go after some of these younger guys that maybe teams have given up on and maybe you have a shot at?" I don't think Atlanta thought that it was going to go as well as it's going right now. I thought they'd be able to get some wins out of it, but maybe I ring the bell and find out what they need to get Penix off of their books.
Penix not going. Good and well. They didn't go up to 8 last year to get rid of him and trade him somewhere. Cousins will go before he goes.
I'd make a call.
You know better. That's not going to happen. I don't think the Giants are going to try. What do you guys think about Nussmeier?
Oh, I
LSU.
forgot about him.
I don't like
Enough
him.
to where I forgot about him.
Oh, well. Next
Sorry.
topic.
I will. How about this? I will tell you more next week about him because we're about to get an up close and personal look at him.
All right. So
Sorry,
I talked
man.
about Drew Allen. I talked about Drew Allen on this show many times, but I'm not seeing it. He got the size and he got the arm, and I'm sure coaches will like him. But oh man, what I've seen, I just don't. Do you guys like him? Even in the context of our team and what we would need as
No.
a prototypical quarterback, do you like him?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
I'm glad I'm not insane by even thinking about him. Okay, good. All right. So predictions for next week. You know how we do it. How did we do last week? I think I did pretty good last week. But I'm not keeping track of the numbers. Somebody got to keep track of how we're doing. I don't want that job. It's too much work.
I nominate
so-
Shane. Shane said he'll do it.
If you're down with it, Shane, by all means, the job is
I can-
yours with pay.
I can start if we need that.
Okay, please do. All right. So just kind of have a number for how we're doing, so we can just either feel good about ourselves or see opportunity for change. Whichever
I
one.
feel bad enough about myself on a daily basis. I'm good.
Maybe it could be encouraging to you. Who knows? All right. So the Giants are going to Munich to play the Panthers. Now everybody's saying we should be losing this game. We should be continuing the
Yes,
tank
you
game.
should.
Knowing my Giants, they're gonna go out here and stop mud holding the Panthers. But I'm gonna
Probably
go ahead because I don't trust them. I'm gonna pick the Panthers, believe it or not. I'm like, I got trust issues, hashtag trust issue right now. So I'm picking the Panthers. How you guys going? Giants, Panthers in Munich, 9:30 on Sunday morning.
I'll go Panthers. Also.
I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going Giants, but they should lose.
They should lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to pull up my pick 'em. Yeah, I took the Panthers.
Oh, you did? Okay. Perfect to see his college picks every week. He's got nothing.
No, I have to see Ho's college picks. Mike knows some Ho's that he has to do his college picks.
Oh boy, I'm gonna go ahead and step off of that. All right. I don't know. I got people. We got little kids that watch. We got a little.
Yeah.
Let's
Mike,
move on.
shame on you, Mike.
Little kids gonna see me in church. What did he mean by hose, Mr. Yusuf? I don't want that in my life. Okay. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mike.
Bad Mike. Bad Mike.
Pass at Bears. Bears at home. I'll
I'll go Bears.
go Bears just because I don't know any better. I'll go Bears.
Pats.
How much you got? Of course. That's your squad.
But they don't even want to win. Like, this is a game that the Pats should not be trying to win.
And what have I just done? I picked the Giants, who should want to lose, and the Patriots, who should want to lose.
Oh,
This is getting super personal.
it's interesting that Mike started off trying to make fun of me, and now he wants sympathy. How's that working out for you, Mike?
What I didn't see was an asterisk with the correction. You know how we make a mistake, you put an asterisk.
Yep. That's because
what
there
word
was
were you
no
trying to
mistake.
use?
That's what he meant to
see
say.
it. I don't see it in the comments. So think about that, pal. All right. Bills at Colts. I'm going Bills here. The Bills probably going to stop a mud hole in them, whether Flacco's playing or not. So I'm going Bills here. You guys feel the same way? Bills across the
Yes,
board?
easily.
Vice at Jaguars. Come on.
Yeah.
Donald's going to throw interception, but they're still going to beat the brakes off the Jaguars. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yep,
Copy that. Broncos at Chiefs. I'm going to pause because it's not – this is one of those games that it could be the one, but I'm going Chiefs here, though.
Yeah.
Chiefs.
But I don't like –
Oh, you reminded me of what my biggest takeaway. If you're on the road playing the champ, you go for two. Like, I don't even understand these terrible decisions. That's what I was wanting to say. Sorry, I know it's wrong time, but that was my biggest takeaway. I don't see how you even decide. Like, I could do a whole hour on how bad a decision that was, but that was terrible.
I don't even know myself. That's the Chiefs, man. Oh, this is the poll question. Are the Chiefs for real? Because these games that we see, I'm like, I don't see it. Undefeated, like, man, it looks like trash sometimes.
Well, you see how teams are just scared into making terrible decisions. Hey, we're a good running team. Let's not run the ball.
Yeah.
Hey, we've just scored. There's under a minute left. Let's not go to two. Let's take Patrick Mahomes to overtime. Okay. Great idea, guys.
I know I mean my girlfriend Regina married, but I'm sorry, Regina. They don't look good. They undefeated, but they don't look good. I'm like, what do they? I don't get it. Okay, but I'm going Chiefs against the Broncos. I don't expect a big scoring differential between them. I think it's gonna be a lot closer, especially if Nick's gets the ball out of his hands quickly. I think they'll have a closer game than what we might think. Falcons at Saints. They don't have Marshawn Lattimore. Just in case you were wondering, he's not on their team anymore. I'm going Falcons here. Shane, same with
Falcons.
you? All right, Niners at Buccaneers. This is a tight one.
It's an
I want you guys
interesting
to go
one.
first. I don't know the answer to this because I think I just saw something on my notifications pop up that CMAC, it said something. I didn't see what he said, so I was trying not to pay attention to it while I was on the show. But he should be expected to return against the Bucs in this game. And Jordan Mason is still questionable. So between him and Garendo, I think McCaffrey's going to get his opportunity to eat. So I'm going to go with the Niners here, but
Yeah, same.
I'm going Niners here. Shane?
I like Niners, but the Bucs offensively are always going to keep them in games. So
Yeah. And then their defense will keep them right back out of the game.
exactly.
And I said, I you know how I do. I listen to anybody who's lost a tough one, their podcast, and these defender, the Tampa Bay guy is just like, he's mad at the decision and he's mad at the defense. Like, defense is just horrible. Like, is anybody even out there on the field at times? So, yeah.
Brother. All right, here's a good one now. Steelers at Commanders. I'll be honest, man, I'm not sure. Let you guys go first, because I really don't know the answer. Do you guys have one? Because I have to need some more time to think about it.
I'm picking Pittsburgh, but this will be, I mean, the styles are interesting. You know, it's kind of got strength on strength for sure. Does Mike Williams become the X factor in this one? Is he up to speed already? Which feels like the Pittsburgh playbook for an offense should be like 2 pages. So I don't even know.
If that.
Yeah. It's a post-it note in there.
It says run left, run right, waggle pass.
Yeah. So I'm taking Pittsburgh, but this I think that'll be enjoy that game.
All right, how about you, Shane?
Ben Parker?
I'm going with the Commanders.
I like that pick.
I think this is the time for them to, prove that they're an upper echelon team. I think they've won some games. They don't have one that really sticks out. I think if you beat a solid Pittsburgh defense, I think that this could be one that really puts them up.
Oh, wow. But I guess it's my time and I still don't know. I'm gonna go Commanders at home.
I think that's a good pick. That's probably the smarter pick for sure.
You know what? It probably was not going to happen too. I got a feeling in my gut that the Steelers are going to pull it out, but I'm like, I don't have any numbers this time. So I don't know what the odds were, but I just got a feeling, man, the Steelers are going to pull it out. But I'm going to pick the Commanders, but I don't feel great about it whatsoever. Just to be honest.
Can I mention Carson Beck, the only person on this list that's not a pro, catching just a random stray?
I understand how he got roped into it. Big net got thrown into the sea, and Carson Beck got pulled out. How did it happen? I don't even know where we're going with that one. That's funny though.
Dang, man.
I can get Chargers. I'm going Chargers here pretty easily. I don't have any doubt that's what's going to happen. You guys got Chargers or Titans?
Chargers.
Oh, Chargers. Yeah.
All right. This is a tough one too. Jets at Cardinals. I'm going to get the Cardinals because on this we ain't trying to hear Jets nothing.
We don't pick the Jets on this game.
I don't care. Even Rodgers leads. I'm still saying the same thing. We ain't picking no Jets on this squad. All right. Eagles at Cowboys.
Eagles.
Cowboys losing at home.
Yeah. Now Mingo might be the X factor in this game, though. So.
That'd be crazy. You know he ain't gonna be the X factor in nothing.
I'm just saying. So do you know there's a conspiracy theory that Jerry Jones traded for Mingo to take to be a distraction, so nobody would be talking about like how bad they are and the Dak Prescott injury and all.
They had better options. They want to really, really get somebody who was like, what? A bigger distraction? A name that you actually know? They're out there. Yeah. Unsigned. Jonathan Mingo was not the one that you would have been thinking of. So no, Jerry Jones is just trying to find somebody to play with Trey Lance. So that's all he's doing right now. All right, so Lions at Texans. I'm going Lions here.
Yeah, Lions. Texans just don't like. Are they in a sophomore slump, or is it just the injuries, or just?
No, I gave you props on Twitter about that. You called it, man, a regression in CJ Stroud. You called it in the beginning of the Well, in the offseason. That's exactly what's happening. He's regressed. Facts. And now, Ben, you stop it. Ben, if you have a fantasy team and you put Mingo on your team and you start him, you get what you paid for. All right.
I feel like someone here must be playing against Ben this week, and he's trying.
It feels that way because it feels kind of weighted and personal.
It's a setup.
I'll tell you what, though, Ben has been bringing out these mystery questions on his podcast, and Austin and I knew that Dallas was terrible, but this last one was about the defense in the NFL, and the basic answer is that Dallas is terrible at everything. Like, as much as you may think they're bad, you don't even have the team's understanding of how bad Dallas's defense is. So, anybody playing against Dallas, I'm going to pick them on my fantasy team.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I ain't putting them on my team.
Catch them at a full dinner, homemade mac and cheese included while listening to y'all. Thanks for the entertainment.
No problem.
Gotta help out a Saints fan.
That's a good thing, right? That we help. Okay, I'm not quite sure where to go with that. It's good. Thank you. All right, last game. Dolphins at Rams. I can't pick the Dolphins here. I'm sorry. I don't think that they've gotten back to their normal form yet. So I'm going Rams here, especially if Pakua, he only got kicked out of the last game. He should be back in this game. They didn't look good in that last game at all, but you guys got numbers on the Rams Dolphins game?
I went.
Okay.
I did go Dolphins in support of Raj.
Oof.
That's fine. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
He won't. He'll talk bad about me somehow or blame me for them losing.
Probably. I got Rams here, so I'm not going to even mess around with this.
And Raj posted earlier that the Dolphins were going to lose on Monday night.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if he was serious. Was it LOL after it, or he was just okay? No LOL. He meant every word he said.
Yeah. No, that's a statement. That's
yeah. And we didn't pick tonight's game, did we?
Holy smokes! No, okay, we didn't. All right, so
we got a holy smokes out of it. I like it.
This is funny. Okay, this is funny because this is another tough one because you look at the record and you think, oh, it's easy. We're even going to mop the floor with them. No, I don't know. I don't know that that's so. Because I have Gesicki and Brown going, I need them to go off and go crazy out here. So I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna pick the Bengals.
I don't even think that's crazy, to be honest.
You don't?
They had the first game won. They basically gave that one away. Right? Like, I am picking the Ravens, but I think your pick is valid. It's probably more well thought out, honestly, than my pick. And like I said, they had the first one won. Their offense has actually been playing well lately. They need to go on a run. And what if the Ravens decide to Raven? You never know with them. This could be the game where they decide to throw 50 times.
And they got the -6?
I would if I was that kind of person, it'd be Bengals +6 all day.
No, they got the Ravens -6. That makes sense, but I'm still going with the Bengals. All right, so Shane, you got all of these picks, man? You got them all locked in?
Shane hasn't made his pick.
I'm going Ravens.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we got time for our 5-pack poll. Ready for it?
Oh, sure.
Then I'm gonna send you right here so we can watch a little TNF. I'm excited about this game tonight, man. This should be a good one. All right, but let's go ahead and jump in. This is fun, man. Good show today, by the way, guys. Awesome stuff so far. Thank you guys for listening and watching and commenting. Great job by you. Great questions and comments. We love it. Please keep that coming. And please share us on your social media platforms. Thank you for doing that in advance. All right, so our 5-pack poll goes like this every week, and hopefully we can keep this going. I mean, you guys help after Thanksgiving and kind of help me organize some of the stuff again. But every week we get 5 teams in 5 categories. First category, wins division. Second category, last place in the division. Third category, playing in the Super Bowl. Not winning it, but playing in the Super Bowl within the next 3 years. The fourth one is a full rebuild. And the fifth one's a first round playoff exit. Our 5 teams this week are the Los Angeles Chargers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Houston Texans, the Minneapolis Vikings, and the Atlanta Falcons. So the Chargers, the Steelers, the Texans, the Vikings, and the Falcons. All of these teams have something in common. They're all contending for for the playoffs. So right now they're in a great position to get there. I think the Chargers should be included in that. If my math is correct, they should be in contention for a playoff berth. And thank you, Ben. We love the podcast too. We love you too, brother. Thank you, man. It's awesome. All right. So, how you guys want me to start off and give you guys some time, or you guys ready to roll?
I'm stuck on one part.
All right, Shane, you ready for me to?
You can start. You can start. I'm ready to go, but I'll let you lead.
Copy that. All right. So for first round playoff exit, I'm going Texans here. I could have put them in a couple of spots, but I'm putting them here. Herb called it in the offseason, definitely regression, and they're in a weak division, which doesn't help. They got 3 or 4 teams that are looking at major overhauls, so they kind of had a false sense of security, and got individual stars that are kind of difference makers that are not playing. Diggs is out for the season. Nico should be back sometime soon, but I think it's going to be maybe a little longer than we thought, so maybe going into December or later. So I think if there's a first round playoff exit in this group, it's them. Full rebuild. Believe it or not, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers here. Now, they don't have a long-term quarterback yet, and I know that Russell's doing good, but, it's one thing to be good, and they got tape on you the year after. We know how that looks, so it's a little bit different. And I don't know if Fields is going to be coming back. If Russell stays, I doubt Fields coming back. And if Russell leaves, Fields would be the guy. So I don't know what they plan to do there, but it's a good chance to do that. They got something to do with a quarterback, at least in the next couple of years. They got Pickens, who's his contract's up after next year. Cordero Patterson up after next year. Najee up after this year. Fields up after this year. And Daniels, their starting guard, up after this year. So they got a lot of people to pay, a lot of mouths to feed. I don't see them paying everybody. Playing the Super Bowl in the next 3 years, I'm going with the Chargers here. They're building the championship team the way I enjoy. I seen it in the national championship game. I saw how they built that team, and I like the pattern they use to build their team on defense and with the running game. And the Chargers have done that, and they're doing that in great display in the past 2 or 3 games, I think it was. So they beat the rebuild. Last place in the division, believe it or not, I'm going with the Vikings here. You know why? Because out of all the guys everybody in this 5-pack, this is the only team in this group that's about 2 games from last place. Yeah. Everybody else is 4 games from last place, 5 games from last place. The Vikings are 2 games out. As good as they're playing, then they got 7 wins. They're 2 games out from last place. And they had some trouble in play from Darnold recently, relying on their running back who's injured a lot of the time. I love me some Aaron Jones, man, don't get me wrong, but he burned me in fantasy for many a year. He'd give me 1,000 yards, and that man will go out, and I'll be dead in the water, dead duck. So I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings, and of course that leads to Atlanta Falcons as the division winners. What you got, Shane?
So I am very close to you, Yusuf.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gave me the final piece of my puzzle there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went Houston as the division winner.
Okay.
I think we've talked about them already. For me, for the dead last, I went the Vikings as well. Not because I think that they're going to be terrible, but because that's a tough division for them. You can easily come in last and still have a winning record right now. I mean, that group right there is tough to beat. I went with the Chargers as well. I'm probably not as big of a Harbaugh guy as you are, but I have always thought that he does a great job in leading his teams. He gets the most out of his guys. And I think the Chargers have some components. They need some more weapons on offense, but they have a good offensive line, some run game. The defense is playing outstanding this year. For that, Pittsburgh, again, I think you hit on all the key points. I don't think they've made a decision on a quarterback. And the other thing is for Pittsburgh, at some point, you're going to run out of magic. You're going to fall down on a bad season. And I think if Pittsburgh gets to where they have a bad season, they're not going to want that to happen again, and they'll try to rebuild as quickly as possible. And then for me, for the first round exit, I went with the Falcons. I think they have the talent, but I also wouldn't be surprised to see them lose an early round game.
Yeah. If Cousins is the quarterback, that could happen.
Yep.
Herbo, what you got, brother?
Yeah. I mean, you guys hit on the easiest one for me, Pittsburgh and the rebuild. And that's like, I like them. I like Tomlin, but you all know my rule. If you don't have a quarterback situation set up for the future, you go into my rebuild category. So that's why I'm there. Houston Super Bowl in 3 years. Just because I'd love to see it. Love DeMeco Ryans. over there. Will Anderson's there as well. So that would be mine. So then the rest of them kind of slotted in. First round exit went with the Chargers. That gave me Atlanta first in their division. That one actually kind of seemed easy with the division falling apart around them. And then so that's what I couldn't figure out is who I would have last, because originally I had Atlanta, but I was like, if Carolina exists, I could never get to that point like in this season or like any other season. So the Minnesota, I like the logic on Minnesota just because of how their division is. You don't have to be bad to finish last in their division. So
yeah, that's a good point.
That one. Yeah. So Right. Well, I stole your point, so a good point for you. If you see all the scribbles on my paper, I'm like, this was a good one because, like you said, they were contenders. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, this is good, man. This was some good stuff, man. I had fun with this. We should spend a little bit more time on a couple of topics, but you know what? It's all good, and we had a good time. If I'm not mistaken, Herb's going to be out next week. He's going to be doing some
2 weeks,
some big time family for the next 2 weeks. That's fair enough. So
no. I mean, like not next week. In 2 weeks, I will be gone.
21st.
I will be flying out to Dallas for the Oklahoma.
On today's day. See, that's what the problem is.
Yeah, on the 21st, I will be gone because I'm going to the Oklahoma game.
Just scratch everything I said. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know today's date. They just told me what the 7th. I didn't even know. So it's right here on the screen, but whatever, right? But wherever you are and happy you're hearing our show, thanks again for listening and making us a part of your week. We are out of here. Have fun, guys. I love all the comments and all. Oh man, spend some time with you, brother. We out of here now. We about to bounce now.
I told you, man. He's got a show that comes on the same time. That's why.
Yeah, I know, man. We're going to OT this time to have some more time to come and join us, man. We hear your thoughts on Georgia and some other stuff, man. But thanks again for joining us, everybody, for the comments and the questions. We love it. And for your support, we are out of here, and I got to find the music so I can play it, and we out.